Welcome back, everyone. It is Thursday, so it's time for Talking Kids with Dr. Caitlynn. Dr. Caitlynn Iddings is with us this morning. As always, she is a pediatrician in Lexington, and today our topic is going to be about the rise in RSV amongst children.
And that's happening nationwide.
Nationwide.
Hospital beds filled with these little people that have these respiratory issues.
Yeah, and it's been really bad. And RSV typically comes a lot later in the year. And
Okay.
I know that we talked about one of our very first segments together, had those little microbes, those little plush stuffed animals of the different viruses, and how I really thought that we could have sort of this triple threat this year with these early flu, RSV, and COVID all kind of coming at the same time. And that really has played out to kind of be what we're seeing both in the clinic and in the hospital. RSV always causes a lot of illness in kids. About 99% of kids will catch it before age 2.
Oh, wow.
But most of them, if they catch it when they're older or a toddler, will just have a minor cold, and most of them will do well. But about 2% every year will be hospitalized for it, and it tends to be the little babies under 6 months of age. So
what's the theory in the increase, though, that we've seen so far?
I mean, we're not masking anymore. All the kids are back together. There was a really weird 2020 phenomenon where COVID was high and we had that Delta surge, and everyone was masking, staying home, washing their hands, and we've kind of relaxed all those precautions, so everything just seems to have come earlier. And it seems to be a really virulent strain because it is coming with very high fevers, which is not always typical. And it's kind of this virus that starts out as just this really pouring runny nose. Babies kind of have these little watery eyes and just lots of snot. And then on day 2, they get that very textbook cough that's just very harsh. They might start having increased work of breathing. You'll see them belly breathing, flaring their nostrils, head bobbing, making these grunting noises like because they're trying to keep their lungs popped open.
Okay.
And so if you see those things, especially if you're like, wow, they've just been sick for about 2 days and this seems to be getting progressively worse, that's a very important thing to make sure that you're calling your doctor and getting them evaluated, because we do know it's a very predictable virus and it tends to get worse on days 2 to 5. And then, like I said, most will recover well in just a couple weeks, but especially if you have a young baby, it's good to make sure that we're being very aware of keeping those kids especially safe. So if you have an older kid who's just got a cold, or you just have a cold, being aware that a cold for you could be RSV, but for a little baby could be very dangerous.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say they seek treatment. They go to their doctor, or God forbid, end up in the hospital. What is treatment like for RSV?
And that's the thing. So we have vaccines for COVID, we have vaccines for flu. RSV has been around for a very long time, and we still don't have great treatment for it, right? We've tried steroids, we've tried breathing treatments, we've tried, at one point there was a vaccine that didn't really pan out. There is a very expensive shot that you can give to premature babies that are very high risk, but it's about $20,000 a dose, and they do that monthly. So insurance companies aren't very ready to pay for that, right? So, but usually it's just supportive care. It's making sure that if they have a lot of snot, you're getting that sort of suctioned out, making sure if they are starting to get where they can't get their lungs oxygenated, that they're putting them on oxygen to just support them through that until their lungs are able to heal.
Yeah.
But that virulent strain that you're talking about, I mean, that may be the factor as to why we're seeing so much hospitalization. I know we're not doing the protocols anymore, but this thing's been around for a while. Why is it so devastating this time around?
Yeah, and it, like I said, it came early. COVID kind of has thrown everything off. Usually we don't see RSV until November, December. February is kind of like when it starts to peak and finish.
Yeah.
But the past 2 years, it's come in July, and it's come earlier, and it's been more aggressive. And so it's almost like our immune systems didn't have much to do for a couple years, and then suddenly they're like, oh,
break,
RSV, I know what this is.
Yeah, so parents out there, educate yourself on those warning signs and contact, your doctor if need be, for sure. All right, Dr. Caitlynn, great to see you. As always, thank you so much.
We got a final look at your forecast coming up next. Plus, we're going to give you something to look forward to as we head out the door.
Back in just a minute. Stay with us.